So we're going to factor some more trinomials, and again, the goal is to get multiplication when we're factoring. So it's not a simplifying thing, it's a matter of what form you want it in. So we're trying to get multiplication instead of addition right now is what we have, stuff plus stuff plus stuff. Okay, so they're going to give us some different examples so we can kind of play around with them and get used to them. So you always want to write it in standard form, which means putting your squared term or the highest degree term first. Then put your next highest degree term, and then finally at the end the constant. So the constant is when it doesn't have the variable in it. So it's just an 18, a constant of 18. Okay, so this one might look a little familiar, but we're looking at a couple things. We're looking at the signs, and by the way, if both signs are plus, then it's going to be both of your integers you're going to find are going to be positive, but we can talk about that more later. So we need them to multiply to be 18, that's the last number here, and then we want them to add to be 9. So this is very similar to the problem on the other video, so sorry about that, but you don't have to make a list, but you can, and sometimes students get frustrated, they're like, I can't think of the two numbers. Then I say make the list, start with 1 times 18, 2 times 9, 3 times 6. Thinking of integers that multiply to be 18. Always start with a multiplying, or, an infinite number of things that add to be 9. Okay. So we need them both to be positive, and it's going to be, so we'll get a multiplication of positive 18, 3 times 6, and then when we add them, we get a positive 9, so that's why we get that. So it multiplies, or it factors into m plus 3 and m plus 6. And you can check that with multiplication, but that's going to work. All right. So here's another one. It's a little bit different. You'll notice it's got an A and a B. Don't let the B scare you. It'll be okay. All right, it's in standard form. So you might say, well, how do you know it's in standard form when you have two variables? So what they're going to do is they're going to put one variable with the squared first, and then they'll put the other one at the back. Okay, so you've got the a squared at the beginning and the b squared at the end. And that's pretty normal how they do that. Okay, so look at the coefficients now. We want to multiply to be 10, but we want to add, and that 10's coming from right here, we want to add to be a negative 11. Okay, when we're multiplying to be a positive number, so this is positive right here, we need our signs to be the same. So either they're both going to be positive or they're both going to be negative. In this case, they're both going to be negative because we want to add to get a negative 11. So, start at the top. Negative 1 times negative 10. Negative 2 times negative 5. And you could do it with positive numbers first and then go back and think about the sign. Okay, that's all the integer combinations we have that multiply to be 10. So which one adds to be negative 11? This one right there. And so now here comes when we want to use the A and the B. So we're going to factor it into two binomials. It's going to be A minus B. So it's minus 1B. Then put the 1. We don't usually put the 1. And then A minus 10B. Okay? Now we can check and see if this is right. So I think this is right, but here comes the check. We're still kind of remembering how to do all this, so, or learning how to do it. So A times A is A squared. I'm doing this FOIL thing. Minus 10AB, right? So you get a minus 10AB in that multiplication. And then here you get a minus AB. Now don't put BA because that'll be confusing to you. So we always put our variables in alphabetical order. Well, we're supposed to always do that. Sometimes you'll see other things, but they should be in alphabetical order. Okay. And then the last is going to be a negative times a negative is positive. 10 times 1 is 10, and b times b is b squared. Okay? So we got the a squared, just like in the original trinomial. And then we have to add these. They're both ab terms, so you can add them. Negative 10 and negative 1 is negative 11ab. And then you have that last term, plus 10b squared. So there's no constant term in this example because of the two variables, but sometimes they're going to throw a second variable in. The b splits up just like the a does. Okay, so hopefully that helps.